some people hate what we do. Some people hate our message. Some people hate what we're about, seemingly hate Shelby and I for trying to share our life with you guys, you know, living off-grid, homesteading. They seem to really, truly hate us for it, and it's an odd thing to be so passionate negatively about somebody else's life that they're living because you don't agree with it or like it or whatever the issue is for it. And it's not something that I can relate to. I don't share that opinion towards people. You know, I might not like what someone does, or I might not like somebody, but you don't dwell on it. You just get over it. You know, you get past it and you move on and you live your life. So much of what Shelby and I try to show in our channel is by example. We don't necessarily come out and just blatantly, you know, say it. We try to show a wholesome family, you know, a husband and wife and kids that work hard to build what we build out here, to live the lifestyle we choose to live for the reasons that we want to live them. And this last week, you know, the videos and the messages have been blatantly obvious. It's been stating this is the problem, this is what's going on. It's not leading by example or just being that inspiration to some people. The issue that we have in this country seems to be coming to a head, seems to be getting to a point where, you know, the different people, the two different sides are going to clash. You know, we did a video talking about rights and people being able to, you know, travel, and it's crazy to me the amount of people who are screaming for rights to be taken away, suspend their rights, whatever that means. You know, force them to stay home, go arrest them. You know, go arrest them. We talk about arresting people like it's, you know, a trip to the grocery store. We as a society grab people and stick them in cages, you know, put them into a corrupt justice system. Their fates are dictated by corrupt individuals and lawyers, you know, paid to lie, paid to twist the truth. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me that our justice system is absolutely corrupt. There's so much injustice in our justice systems, you know, but empires have been built on putting people in cages, locking up human beings. And don't get me wrong, some deserve it, but to call up law enforcement because your neighbor is driving on the road and say, put that person in a cell, lock them up, put them in a cage. It's crazy to me that people think that way. It's crazy to me the amount of people who don't respect or even understand the Constitution. And the root of this is public education, guys. The root of this is the fact that they don't teach the Constitution in school. Kids don't know the Bill of Rights. Adults don't know the Bill of Rights. Adults don't know the Constitution. They don't know what this country was built on. They don't understand their rights. So we see this society of people who manipulate people's rights and violate people's rights. And for you to seek justice is going to cost you thousands and thousands of dollars to go to a corrupt court system to try and find justice. And the people that do many times walk away with very large settlements for having their rights violated. And those settlements are paid out by the people. You know, we the people, because of the wrongdoing of public officials. I posted a link to a video the other day. You can see it in the community section of a friend who was down in Lewiston, Idaho. And he was pulled over for one thing. He thought that he was recording while going down the road. His passenger was recording, and so the sheriff's deputy asked, "You know, did I see you recording?" And he said, "No, it's my passenger recording." That wasn't the issue. The issue was he said, "You know, you're not supposed to be traveling." He said, where are you going? And he said, "Oh, just driving around." And the deputy said, well, you know, you're not supposed to be traveling. He said, well, that's not the law. He said, well, it's an order. So it's an order from the governor. And he said, well, you know, it's not a law, so you can't enforce it. Anyway, the deputy brought back a piece of paper, printed off, saying that he can enforce it. There was a little back and forth about the Constitution. I'll link the video below, guys. You guys can go check it out. You know, and Casey, the guy driving, says, you know, you swore an oath to the Constitution. He said, well, you know, I got to follow orders. That's the big issue here, guys. That's the underlined issue here. You have men and women who swear an oath to the Constitution, and it's like, you know, it's like they just went through the motions to get the job. You know, the oath means nothing to them. A lot of oath breakers out there in government, in public service. But these oath breakers don't realize that the people are tired of it. You know, you might be following order, but you're supposed to stand up for the Constitution. The Constitution's end all be all, right? It starts and stops at the Constitution. If it violates the Constitution, you don't enforce it. You stand up against it. And this is the problem with not having leaders in society. We have too many cowards. You know, cowards that hide behind badges and desks and titles. And so many people like you and me who, you know, this pisses off. We see it. And what's your recourse? You know, your recourse is, well, you could take them to court. You spend thousands of dollars to seek justice, right? Looking for justice in an unjust system. And in the meantime, what happens? You know, someone traveling down the road gets arrested, has to spend time in jail, has to spend their money, has to spend more time coming to court, all to appease a bunch of people who were paid to do all of that. You know, it's a broke system that we have. It's an absolutely broke system, and it's riddled with abuse of power. But I don't think it's going to go on much longer. I think by reading the comment section, the majority of people are tired of it. The few people who are calling for the violation of people's rights, you know, those people are cowards at heart, and cowards don't win anything. And as we continue down the next couple weeks of, you know, just touching the tip of martial law in this country, violating rights in a country that was built on recognizing rights and respecting the rights. You know, the only reason that so many people are upset by it is because they don't even know what rights they have. They think everything can just be given and taken away from government. But it's up to us. You know, when government abuses power, it's up to us to take that power back. It's up to us to remind them who they work for. It's up to us to fight for our rights. And it seems to me, by reading the comment section, there's a lot of people who feel the same way that I feel, who are tired of it. You know, people who spent their time, you know, fighting for this country, serving this country, you know, watching brothers die, losing loved ones to war, you know, to freedom and liberty that we fight for in this country, right? I have a feeling our next war is going to be fought here on home soil, and I don't think we're too far off. You know, something's got to change. We can't keep going down the path that we're going down. We're living in a country where, you know, people have to work so much just to pay the bills to exist. And it's now to the point where, you know, both parents in the family need to work. If both parents in the family are working, who's raising the kids? You know, a family can't survive without proper parenting from both parents. But we see the cost of everything going up, and we see the dollar going down. And it's all because of greed. And it's all because of those who are in power chasing more power, paying themselves more, charging more, taking more from us. You know, in our state, we got a lot of free thinkers here in Idaho. We got a lot of strong people, a lot of conviction, free, liberty-minded people. You know, and I know from reading the comments too that, you know, the majority of these hardworking people of Idaho is a state that's built on agriculture. You know, built on farming, built on mining, built on forestry. You know, men who really had to work for a living to carve out this land. You know, and the men that do it today. You know, in Idaho's harsh climate too. You know, we have cold temperatures, hard winters. You know, it takes a special kind of person to truly exist in Idaho and be that name, that face and that name of what makes Idaho great. You know, one of the last states where you'll still find cowboys. One of the last states where you'll find, you know, those grizzly miners still up in the hills. Homesteaders, off-gridders, outdoorsmen, everywhere. And I've seen the comments in the comment section, you know, most of these people would never touch a job in politics. But every one of them seems willing to lift a finger if things go south and take this state back. And I feel sorry for the opposition, whoever that may be, for ever stepping foot in the state of Idaho. I know there's other states like that mindset still of free people, liberty-loving people. You know, our governor issued orders as well. The state of Idaho is generally a Republican state, but issued those same orders, you know, those stay-home orders, you know, and it doesn't sit well with Idahoans. Our state representative up here, our sheriff in our county, spoke out against him. Same R in front of their name, you know, and it's this action that shows the true colors of the people in this area. You know, it's being able to call bullshit on your own team. Say no, that's wrong. Doesn't matter. You know, we're crossing party lines here, you know, speaking out. It's what it's going to take, and it's what needs to happen. We need more people standing up, taking a stand, and frankly, at this point, just leading the charge. You know, and our state representative, you know, she's one of us up here. You can see it when you talk to her. You can tell when you're being bullshitted by someone. You know, when you talk to these greasy politicians, you know, and they're, you know, you can see that forked tongue flapping. You know, you talk to her and it's like talking to a neighbor. You know she's from here. You know she's of here. And we're lucky enough to have a constitutional sheriff up here, and one of which that has the balls to stand up, you know, and tell the governor, hey, no, you're suspending the Constitution. That can't happen. Same party lines, guys. But this is the point. Your team, my team, we got to be able to call bullshit no matter whose team it is. Right, wrong, the Constitution comes first. It has to. It absolutely has to, or we lose it all. This country will fall the moment we start letting rights be stripped from us. And I know it's happening, and I know many of you in the comments are going to say, oh, it's already happened. Welcome to it. Well, I refuse to accept that. I refuse to give up, and I'll tell you why. I want nothing more than to be able to sit out here in the woods and work my land, raise animals. But if war is coming, and it's going to be fought here on the homeland, I want it to be in my time and not my kids'.